Welcome back to the FFS Podcast, the show where finance, business, networking and common sense occasionally meets in the same room. I'm your host, Rachael Harrison, accountant MD of one of Warwickshire's leading firms and someone who spent years helping business owners separate genuine investment from complete financial nonsense. Today's guest is a man who probably has more LinkedIn connections than the National Grid has cables. We're joined by Jon Zink, utility specialist, energy consultant, professional relationship builder, and self-confessed networking guru. Jon, welcome to the pod.
Thank you.
Today we're tackling a topic every business owner secretly complains about. There are so many events: breakfast events, lunch events, awards nights, expos, masterminds, roundtables, golf days, I could go on. And, networking events where apparently putting pastries on a table suddenly justifies charging £95 plus VAT. So, Jon, how do you actually decide what is worth attending?
Well, there's all different types of networking. You've got social right the way through to the really professional elements. And I would try one of each and see what suits your business best, and then just diarise it within your current business or current position.
What do you think is genuinely valuable?
The feel of the group. No two networking groups are the same. So there's lots of different groups, like you've got BNI, Top Network, and all these different ones. But each chapter or individual group's different. So it's how you actually feel about the group and what business you're going to get from it's really important as well.
You're very right, because there'll be lots of events with chambers of commerce,
Yes.
Big companies like BNI, when groups individually across the country have completely different feels.
That's true. And one thing I've noticed is even within the same group, no two networks are the same. So I would try them all and see what works best for your business and then go from there.
Brilliant. So what events do you find that people are just sort of aggressively exchanging LinkedIn QR codes, and which ones are more for genuine business owners?
That's quite a tough one. I think the cost doesn't always reflect the quality of the group as well. So without actually attending, you never know. I would see the sort of number of people who are attending. Anyone that's got maybe less than 10 is probably not worthwhile, because it's like just having a chat at a pub, but just like down your lunch break or something. And if it's got more than 10, go along and see what you think.
That's a really good advice there. Thank you, Jon. So before we go in any deeper, we've got our very own Smart Business Summit happening on the 4th of June here in
Fantastic.
Bidford-on-Avon. We've got 6 speakers, exhibitions, networking, lots of brilliant local businesses, and somehow it's completely free to attend. Very suspicious, isn't it? But you'd be mad not to come. So, Jon, you have openly admitted you're a bit of a networking addict. How many events do you think you attend in a typical month?
I go to at least 2 to 3 every week, and then I do property event networking twice a month. So at least, 2, 4, 6, over 10 to 12 every month.
Wow.
Sorry, yeah, every month.
Yeah. And how have you mastered the art of escaping someone you don't see a value in a conversation, or if they're taking forever with you?
There is sometimes a need to do that, but what you've got to remember is every time you go to any event, you're representing your business. So even if there's someone that might not value you speaking to them, I would still give them a few minutes of your time, because obviously it can portray you in a bad way if you don't, if that makes sense.
It does make sense.
I would spend a minute or two with them, but I wouldn't necessarily sit there for 10 minutes, depending on the event. I would just be polite, thank them for their time, maybe ask them for the card and use that as an excuse to move on to the next more relevant person. That works well.
Asking them for a card to move on, that's a really good one.
And you could always blame it on them. One of the lines I tend to use is, I don't want to take up too much of your time. So if you've got a card, and then I'll help you get around the room, so you make it like you're doing them a favour. That works well.
That's a really good tip. Thank you, Jon. I will use that one myself. So how do you personally decide which events are actually worth attending? You've already picked up on the size of the event being one thing, but is there anything around sort of the audience quality that you would say?
Yeah, how well it's advertised and the number of attendees are one of the main things. But also on top of that, it's the people that are in the room. If they've got no relevance to your industry, then there's probably not much point you going, because you're not going to have any synergy or couldn't use your services. So like, you're an accountant, so anyone you speak to could benefit you, but there'll be certain things that are very specific. So like, say they do a really bespoke software that's only relevant to one industry, like the motor trade, there's no point in them going to a generic like networking group.
That's a really good point, because it's just going to be full of random businesses.
Correct.
So you sort of touched upon niche industry events versus broad business expos. Have you got any experience in those areas?
Yeah, so again, it depends on the businesses. So expos will be great depending on who it's run by and how it's run. So some of the expos will be just like a lot of the members there and not hardly any visitors if they're not well advertised. So it's always how well they are done. So if they're on Eventbrite, they tend to be a little bit better because they're spent some money or they've organised it better. So you can do a bit of research before you go, see what sort of numbers of people they're expecting and footfall, and ask the organiser, because they shouldn't really exaggerate too much, hopefully.
So you think there's a difference between free and paid events?
Some free events are really good. Some paid events are really good. They all really, it just depends.
Some free events are rubbish and some paid ones are rubbish.
Absolutely. So it's I would try, if you've got enough time to, and it's not like hours out of your day and you've got the time to afford, I would go and see, because you won't know until you go, because one person's opinion of an event, if they don't do regular networking, could be completely wrong or irrelevant to you. So there's no written rule, I suppose.
That's very true. Do you look at the speakers and the quality of those?
That would definitely make a difference. If you've got a very good speaker and they like do regular TED Talks and stuff, or they're nationally or internationally known, that's going to be a much better event for sure.
Brilliant. What about things like follow-up opportunities?
So don't get me wrong, it's good to give out a business card, but I would always try and get as many as possible and say, and I always talk about them first, let them talk about what they want to do, how they want to tell me about their business. Then if I'm more likely to let you speak, and then I always try and arrange an appointment there and then with most people. So you're probably busy like me. We're not going to have enough time to explore how your business works today. When would be better for your daytime or evenings better? And then I'll try and pin them down on an appointment time whilst I'm at the event. That works better, because if you don't put something in there, and then the chances are they might not do it.
It's really hard then following up afterwards, isn't it? You just get lost in the other 50 emails of attendees that message them.
And I never email, I always phone people. So if I don't make the appointment there, then I would phone them, because they're always getting emails. If they're giving you a card, I would ring them. If they get the mobile, on the mobile. But I always try and do it there and then.
Try and ring them. That's a really good advice. And I found that actually the general consensus is that telephone is coming back.
Yes.
Whereas it has been fading out for many years, but now it's almost a differentiator.
Sure, for sure.
Have you got any red flags immediately when you go to an event?
Again, this will be industry specific, but if there's lots of people that do the exact same thing as my business, then it might not benefit me to go there unless I can differentiate myself from them. So if you're going to an event and you're, I don't know, a software engineer, and there's going to be 20 other software engineers, it might not necessarily benefit you. But you won't know until you look at who's going to be there and what's going on. But I just do as much research as you can before going, same as a venue.
That's a good point. I definitely did some networking events early on in my business where there was already 3 accountants there who knew everybody, they've established with everyone. And I thought, well, like, it feels to me all the business is mopped up at that point. Do you think awards nights are really useful, or are they more, massaging the ego?
If you're in a regular networking event that you attend quite often, then an awards evening can be good, yes. Or do you mean like for your own company awards evenings? Do you mean it from a networking point of view?
I mean from both.
From a company point, we always say babies cry for it, soldiers die for it. So any sort of recognition is really good for the individuals or the company, definitely. And if you're going to meet like-minded people at the networking event, then that's great. Any opportunity to network's good.
So in your world, being utilities and energy consultancy, how important are the industry-specific events compared to general business networking?
So for the utility warehouse side, which is domestic, that's very heavily publicised. I mean, thanks to Mr. Trump and what's going on at the moment, that's very easy for us, not in a bad way, as energy prices are in the press. So with us offering the lowest, it makes it dead easy. Commercial's very different. You need to know the rates for energy, for telecoms, and all the different industries I work in. So those event-specific ones are quite good to know what you're up against, but not beneficial to network because they're all selling the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I do plenty of accountancy expos, and I only really go if I know I need something in particular. If I need a particular type of software, I'll go and have a look at the front runners and then, have a bit of a demo and choose. Then I also find that getting, like you say, the regulatory and policy updates can be really useful. I find like if I'm going to an accountancy specific event, I'll look at who the speakers are and see, are there any topics that I really want to learn about?
Yes.
And if they're not, then I think it's probably not worth my time. If there's not a specific piece of software I want to invest in, and there's not a speaker that's going to attract me there, then I don't generally see the point of taking time out of my working day to go to it.
No, I agree. So a good example, in our industry, I work with a lot of people that do solar. So I quite like listening to the solar guy's latest update because that'll be relevant to me doing energy. So in one of the networking groups, whatever he says is always relevant for me and vice versa. So the industries that are nearest to you, they're probably more beneficial than your direct industry because you're just speaking to competitors.
It does make perfect sense. So industry events, useful for regulatory and policy stuff, but not great for building your business.
True.
It does feel like there's been a bit of an explosion of events in the last few years. Every week there's another expo, another summit, an awards dinner, or some kind of exclusive round table. you think we've reached like peak networking at this point?
I don't know, because I got into networking during COVID because I needed another way to get business, and that was all online. So there's a real balance, because you've got online networking, which can be good and bad. It's quite quick if you need to do something from a long distance away, you can't travel. Then you've got face-to-face, which is what I always prefer personally, but it's down to how busy your schedule is, I suppose.
Do you not find online network really, really hard to connect with people?
Much harder. You could meet every week and you could be a year and hardly know them, because all you know is the top half of their body. You don't know how tall they are or anything.
Depending if they're not very good with the camera, the best thing you might know is the top part of their nose.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, this is true. Yes. So yeah, I always prefer face-to-face. I find it a lot better. I
find you just make better connections with people. I get a better feel for people in person. I've tried some online networking and it hasn't worked for me. I just find I'm not making a connection there. It's those side conversations, isn't it, that make the difference?
With all the professional networking I've done and the other networking, I've always found I get far more business from the social after or so on. So there's one property event I go to that they then go for a curry always after. And 80 to 90% of the business gets done when we're relaxed having a curry, not at the actual networking event.
I'm not surprised at all. I find that the majority of the business I end up doing is always in the informal dinners and the drinks.
They're more important, I think, than the actual events, once you're known within the group.
Yeah, 100%. I'm guessing you don't suffer from event fatigue.
I'll be honest, I'm already sort of semi-retired, so of the 15 hours a week I work, probably 10 of it's networking, so I don't mind.
It's more your job, isn't it?
Yeah.
I definitely heard a lot of people complaining about event fatigue, and it might not be something that you were aware of, because it was all about these women in business events. So International Women's Day, there was an explosion of events everywhere.
Yes.
And I had like 6 invites in 1 week, and with the full-time day job as well. It's like, I've got to pick my top 2 here. I can't do all 6.
No, I can relate to that. We used to do an event every year called Mastermind. It used to be in Florida. And that was like a 6-day event. And by the 3rd day, you were knackered. It was really good and you were meeting. So I can relate to that 100%.
What do you think of this rise of pay-to-pitch style events? For example, I got invited to one in London. I thought, this will be a fantastic event. It's a SME business event. They want me to do a speaking slot. Brilliant. But then they want $6,000 for the privilege.
I've never done anything like that. I suppose if you're going to get £8,000-10,000 at least worth of business off the back of it, plus your time, it might be worth it, because you have to put the value of what you'll get on it from it to
and the time investment as well.
Me personally, I probably wouldn't do that, but I don't know. That'd be that's a big outlay to get your money back,
isn't it? And I think it makes me really nervous. Which I did politely decline that one.
Sensible.
Not to say I wouldn't do one in the future, but at the moment it felt like a big outlay for what I felt I couldn't actually guarantee any return. Do you think sometimes people can confuse being visible with being valuable?
Definitely, because visible is turning up. You can, like, if you take it to a sport, you can turn up every week to play a sport. It doesn't mean you're necessarily good at it. Being valuable at it is far more important than knowing you're good at it.
So like those follow-up phone calls and the drinks and the curries afterwards are actually far more important than just being visible at the event.
Very much so. The fortune is in the follow-up. That's what they say, don't they? So.
Fortune is in the follow-up. That's good advice. So this leads nicely onto my next section on the economies of networking. So we get a lot of business owners saying, I've spent $3,000 this year on events and networking, and was it worth it? And so many of them not really looking at that ROI, the return on investment.
Yes.
How do you think they should measure their success?
It is hard to track, because sometimes you can do an event and then you'll get something a month later, a year later. So it's really hard to quantify as well. I think we're built, if you went back to prehistoric times, we're built on instincts, and you should know really at the end of the event if you think you're going to get your benefit from it or not. Not for definite, but you'll have that gut feeling. Mm-hmm. If you go with that, it's normally right. It's not guaranteed, but these instincts were put on us for a reason, aren't they? So.
That's a really good point. I've never thought of it that way. Obviously, I'm an accountant, so I log where every lead comes from.
Yes, logging the figures, I understand.
Yeah, a lot of data for me. I love being able to show my data and where all my leads came from and the conversion rate from the different sources. I find it really interesting.
At least you can measure yours. That is impressive, because I get a lot of my business from Facebook, so I'm very well known for HMOs, and I now supply 800 of them with energy and broadband. So it started off 2 years ago from one property event. I started going regularly, and then now I'm the go-to person. Everybody knows that. So it's really weird how one event can actually change your business. You just never know.
That's a really good point as well. You just don't know where you're going to meet someone sometimes. I've found a lot of really great business can come from strategic partnerships and knowing someone really well that's connected with your ideal client.
Yes.
And you might meet them once at one event, and that event might not have been a brilliant event, However, that connection that you made has lasted years onwards.
This is true. And the other thing you might want to do as well, without making it too obvious, if you know that person is going to give you regular business, maybe wine and dine them or meet up with them outside the event, because you know you're going to benefit from it in the long run.
Absolutely.
A lot of people don't think to do that. You might speculate a little bit of an outlay. Maybe it costs you £100 for a meal. If you then regularly get business off them every month or whatever, it's well worth it.
Definitely. I'll name drop Hannah in here because I know she won't mind, but I met her at a chamber event, just a barbecue.
Yes.
And she works at Circles Insurance. She's connected with all the clients that I want to be connected with, and I'm connected with plenty of clients that she'd like to do insurance for.
Brilliant.
She does a great job. I do a great job. And we regularly meet up and we have a drink, we have a meal. And it's a great relationship where business can go both ways, and that's not always the way.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely something to be said for helping other businesses too.
There is.
Even if they're not connected with your ideal client and they can't give you anything now, the goodwill can go a long way with the right people.
I agree. Couldn't agree more. That was one of the things it took me a little while to get hang of, because I did online to start with. But I would always find out about their business first and try and get them some business. Then they'll automatically give you business. So if you always put them first, that tends to work for me.
It definitely does. It sort of builds a bit of brand visibility as well, doesn't it? Because they will think of you when they happen upon somebody else in the networking circle. And it's just great word of mouth in that sense.
One thing people miss as well, I will mention that I do a lot. When I go to a networking event and I meet someone, it's their first time or they've not networked before, I'll tell them about other great events to go to. So if I can't help them directly with business, you can help them by saying, this will benefit you, or introduce them to someone in that event that will benefit them. The more you do, the more you get back in everything in life. I think.
Fantastic. As an accountant, I always find it fascinating when businesses are scrutinising like the £20 software subscription, but then casually spending £5,000 sponsoring an event because they're like, oh, it'd be really good exposure.
Yes, they do that a lot.
And it's quite a common thing. So, John, from what you've seen in all events, how could you summarise what makes an event genuinely worth showing up for?
How much it's advertised, the number of people attending, and the feel you get for it before you go, and then how many platforms it's advertised on. So it might just be on Eventbrite. It could also be on LinkedIn, Facebook, and all these different social. So the more there is before you go, the more likely I would be to go, if that makes sense.
That was really good advice. So advertise on lots and lots of different platforms. Interesting. So obviously I'm going to pitch us back to the summit because that's what we want to promote.
Absolutely.
We've got our 6 quality speakers. I feel is really strong.
Yes.
There in different areas to help business. We've got exhibitions from local businesses, proper networking opportunities, practical insight people can actually use. I'd like to think as a minimum of turning up, you will go away with some information that you wanted. And I do think being free to attend should help. But thank you for the tip on promoting on multiple platforms, although I'm sure Beth has got us covered on almost everything as it is. So if you're listening and you're serious about growing your business, meeting quality people and avoiding another meaningless Zoom webinar, do come along to that Smart Business Summit on the 4th of June in Bidford-on-Avon. Bring your business cards, bring your questions, bring someone for your team, and don't just bring one of those roller banners that curls up at the edges halfway through the day, people. John, absolute pleasure having you on. I think the big takeaway today is networking isn't about attending everything. It's about attending the right things with the right intention. And frankly, if you're going to spend money on events, you'd better know what success actually looks like before you go. Huge thanks to John for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. Really enjoyed it.
Brilliant. So, and as always, FFS for finance's sake, check the numbers.